What's going on, everybody? My name is Linwood. Thank y'all so much for being here, and I hope that you are so ready for the next hour that is jam-packed, full of hope, positivity, optimism, gratitude, mental attitude, and a mental check, baby. So pull up a chair, grab your shoes up, let your hair down, and relax, because this will be the best hour that you have ever received, and I'm super excited for it, baby. Woo!
Joseph Jaffe is not famous. Me, Tom Arnold, I am very famous. I absolutely because it's very true. Like, I hadn't freaking heard of you until I was sitting on a Friday night. This is how bad my life is. Listen, fucker, good luck. Good luck with your rebranding. Like anybody knew what the name was before. What was the name? Okay, who gives a shit? That's a good name because it's got your name in it. You can pretend you're humble. You say, I'm not famous. And, which you aren't. So you're just, anyway, but I hope you get famous doing this. Good luck to you.
When it comes to chicken, I'm your guy.
Blinking.
I'll have what Joseph has.
Look, somebody's talking about you.
This is what we call the voice of God.
Popping.
Everybody just gets to...
Jeremiah, just hang on a second. I just got a text.
There's an edit for your new opening, Joseph.
I feel really honored to have been here, man.
But by the way, you've done a masterful job. Seriously.
And it was such a joy.
Thanks, Joseph. It's an honor.
Good on you. This was a pleasure.
I mean, you are the prime example of how to pivot in this new environment.
I wish everybody gets an opportunity to interact with Joseph Jaffe.
Who needs Cameo when I've got my own personal Cameo? Am I happy tonight? It's not just because John is my guest. It's because I got my real microphone back. I've been faking it till I'm making it, till I made it. I've been faking the fact that my microphone has been working. It hasn't. If you liked the sound earlier this week, that was my MacBook Pro microphone. My Rodecaster was not feeling great, had a COVID test. Turns out it's okay. So everything is good in the world, my friends. It is time for another night of Joseph Jaffe is not famous, but my next guest is. And today is National Hobbit Day. So hobbit over to your YouTube, share this with your friends, hang out with us, make a little bit of money, make a little bit of Jaffe coin. Why not? Right now, all you got to do is look for a QR code. We don't know when it's going to show up. Oh, wait, there it is. That QR code right now is live between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Daily Time. And we'll give you one Jaffe coin, which is worth, I don't know, about $6.55. It's no smart coin, but it's getting smarter by the day. And as I said, throughout this episode, it will come on, it will go off. You might even see the smart logo pop on as well. So we've got lots of little crypto Easter eggs for you, my pretties. And that is a way that we reward live viewers, because this is what it is to be in the streaming era. Well, someone who is in the streaming era is John Koetsier. I said, is it Koetsier? Is it Koetsier? Is it Koetsier? It isn't. It's Koetsier, and I'm just thinking of it like Koetsier, South African Koetsier. He is the CEO of Smart, and he is famous. In fact, he's been featured on the Forbes 50 under 50, 40 under 40, 30 under 30. He's got youthful exuberance as well, but he writes for Forbes, and he writes pretty damn well, I might add. So we will see him, I should say, shortly, just after I get to my soliloquy, which tonight I am calling Clueless. So I'm just going to be honest with you. I have no idea what I'm doing. Let me be more specific. When it comes to NFTs, I have no idea what I'm doing. This might be the first time in my professional career that I kind of get it, but not really. I'm not ashamed to say so, but it's also not preventing me from dipping my toe in the water. I get the what's old is new again part of it as it relates to trading cards, limited edition cards, rare cards, etc., collectibles. I even understand that what's new is not old again in terms of smart contracts, programmable utility, access, and experiences. I also definitely understand the smushy stuff in the middle in terms of community engagement and connections being formed generally on Discord servers. And yet, I still really don't know what the hell I'm doing. Yesterday, I bought a broadcaster NFT based on nothing more than last week's guest, Francine Hardaway's recommendation. She's right. This is so me. Broadcaster, right? Streamer. So I attempted to buy one, and after 3 bad attempts to move enough ETH and apparently something called WETH, from one wallet to another, I was able to purchase on a platform called OpenSea, but the sea was very turbulent because 3 attempts, I said earlier, because every time I thought I had enough, apparently I didn't because of very high miner fees right now. All I could think of was due to unusually high core volume, your expected wait time is 1 hour. Now, I'm pretty sure the miner fees cost more than the actual NFT, but anywho, now I own it. I bought it at 0.17 ETH, which was the floor price at the time, and I'm proud to say that today the floor price is now 0.11 ETH. And so at least I answered 2 of my questions. Yes, the floor price can go down, and no, I will not be retiring on my broadcaster NFT anytime soon. So now that I have it, I'm not sure how to change the question mark on it to my customized, personalized, owned image. There was no welcome message or email, and I'm just too afraid to get into Discord. So I don't even know where it's kept. Should I change my profile pic to the same thing, to a broadcaster NFT like every Bored Ape before me? Should I sell it? Should I resell it? I'm so confused, but like I said, I have no idea what I'm doing, but guess what? I have an NFT and you don't. I'm in the game. I may not win it, but I'm in it. And you can never win it unless you're in it. Now, let's discuss. And who better to discuss with than my guest, John Koetsier. Let me tell you a little bit about him, his very famous bio. John is a journalist, analyst, author, executive, and crypto king. I just added the last one. He's interviewed 10 billionaires, and no, he does not include me on that list. He's chronicled the rise of the mobile economy. He's joked with former Microsoft CTA Nathan Myhrvold, been stalked by Apple CEO Tim Cook, climbed a pyramid in Cairo, allegedly legally broken more bones playing ice hockey than he can easily count, and laughed at every single meeting he's ever been in, except the one where he got canned when a startup he was with shut down. I don't think we need to talk about anything except for his glorious, exciting life. So let's say hello to him. John, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm glad you didn't punch me and break 6 bones.
I'm glad too.
So there is a lot to get to, my friend, a lot. Fortunately for you, I know exactly where to start. How about we just start with the fact that you are now guest number 281. 281.
I feel so important. I feel so important. There were 280 people more important than me that you had to interview.
No, my friend, what has actually been happening is I'm getting better and better. I'm getting more famous guests, and the
ladder.
And I can honestly say this has definitely been my best interview to date. Yes, I said that yesterday, and yes, I'll say it tomorrow. Well, at least Monday. But it's been a beautiful, glorious journey for me, getting to know people. Some people that I've met asynchronously. You through the whole Rally Creator Coin initiative. We generally interact with each other on Zooms and text messages. But now we get to just do it, the 2 of us and anyone who's watching right now.
Super looking forward to it. And thanks for having me.
You are welcome. So one of the things that we do on the show, if you have watched the show, is we do this little thing called Fun Facts. And I kind of feel like your entire life is a fun fact. And I've alluded to some of the things earlier, but we were able to actually send our photographers into the field to get a little bit of intelligence on you. And like the bio suggests, you've climbed a pyramid in Egypt. So I didn't even know you could do that, but apparently you can.
We could have climbed the Great Pyramid, the Giza Pyramid, for 100 US, but a member of our party wasn't feeling up to it, so we didn't do it. I was there for a conference with Intel. I had come in at about 3 a.m. I got a couple hours sleep. I got up at local time 6 a.m. got in a cab. He took me to a place near the pyramids, rented a camel. I later learned that I could have bought the camel for the price that I paid. But then we walked through the desert. It was amazing, and came upon the pyramids just as sunrise was coming up. It was absolutely incredible. Loved it. And the guide said I was allowed to climb one, so I climbed one. It was cool. Went to the top. And next time, maybe the Great Pyramid. But yeah, that we were told it was legal, and we could do it for 100 US dollars. But I'm not sure if that was 100% kosher.
So it must have been. So I assume that I mean, I've never been there before, but I assume what's really happening is you're climbing essentially big blocks.
Yes.
And so do you have to like lift have they built stairs there?
No,
Is it, do you have
not
to like
user
lift
friendly. There's no elevator, no escalator. You
not user
clamber up.
friendly?
Yes.
Your call is not important to us and will be answered in the order it wasn't received.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I love that. I love that story. I also love the fact, when we hear about your broken bones, that you broke 6 bones in your hand punching something hard. Was it perhaps part of Fight Club is the question.
It was not part of Fight Club, but yes, my abs do look like that guy in the middle. It's perfect. Absolute symmetry.
That actually is you. So, I mean, how can it
100%. Yeah. If you see my fist here, that knuckle is crushed, and that knuckle is crushed as well. And I played a lot of ice hockey in my life. I absolutely love it, and scored a goal, and I was super happy. And I punched the glass behind the goal and hit the metal stanchion that divides 2 panes of glass, and that was double plus ungood. So yeah, I broke about 3 or 4 bones in this hand on that one occasion. And my hand, I didn't go to the doctor right away. I thought it'd be fine, no big deal, right? And the next morning was like the claw, couldn't move. But all is well now.
Now I'm going to ask a maybe an obvious question, but maybe it isn't an obvious question. At the end of the day, was it worth it punching?
I would do it
scoring
all over again. It was an amazing goal. It was worth it.
And you have a story to tell. Well, you have many stories. Like I was personally quite intrigued about this one, about this idea of being stalked by Tim Cook. And you don't know this actually, but we actually have a photo of him stalking. We used the CCTV cameras, and we were able to just capture this moment. Like, what is his fascination with you?
I do not know. I would like to know, but this is not it right here. It was, I think, something like 2012. I want to say that. I could be wrong on that date. I was in San Jose. It was an Apple event. I was covering it for VentureBeat. And Dean Takahashi, Dean the Machine, who's still at VentureBeat and GamesBeat, he and I were there, and we were looking at the new MacBooks, and I was doing the Vanna White and holding it up and pointing, and he was videoing. And after he said, by the way, Tim Cook was right behind you the whole time looking. And so Dean has a picture of this. And I had a picture of it. I have lost it. Dean has a picture of this, and it was in the post I did at VentureBeat. VentureBeat's updated their site. That picture is lost. I asked Dean for it. He says it's among 200,000 others in my iCloud. There's no way I can find it. So I've reluctantly, I do not have photographic proof, but if I was absolutely required to, and maybe if I paid Dean a Bitcoin or two, he would probably find it for me.
Well, the one thing that you could choose to maybe pay him, by the way, here is the photo. I'll give it to you for free if you like. But we will get into whether you could have actually paid him in smart. But before we do that, because we're going to spend a bit of time on this in the creator economy, something that, and it was funny because in the green room, I was saying to you that unfortunately our creator tonight couldn't make it, and so it's just you and me tonight. And you're like, but Joe, we're
The
both
pressure,
creators.
the pressure.
But you said
All
like
by
we're
my
both creators, and I'm like, well, unless you're tap dancing and I'm doing my interpretive dance and mime, we can discuss that shortly. There you go. Well, maybe poor creators is or bad creators, but this other story about laughing in every meeting except for the one that you got canned. I think there's something worth expanding on in this idea of because it intrigued me, right? What does it mean to laugh in every meeting? So just tell me more about that because it sounds different and it sounds kind of cool.
I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, it's just honestly, why do anything you're not passionate about? Why do anything when you're not having fun? And so guess what? You run a business, I run a business. And there are things you have to do when you run a business or when you're doing a job that are not necessarily the most fun in the world. But if you can approach them with a good attitude, if you can find something good about it, even if you can maybe gripe creatively about it and enjoy it from that perspective, why not? Everything is made better by a little bit of humor, and maybe not everything. Maybe maybe there's a few things like getting knighted by the queen, or but almost everything is made better when you enjoy it and when others enjoy it. And if you can help others to enjoy it and help them enjoy their experience of working with you, that's probably a good thing.
All right, so there's a little bit of our laughter, but let me ask you something. So like you're sitting in a meeting, right? You're sitting in a meeting. There's about 4 minutes left, and you realize that you have not laughed yet. Are you now going to? Are you going to the bank of sure thing jokes? What are you doing when? Are you ever self-conscious and self-aware that you're deficient in your laugh quota?
I am never any such thing because honestly, I will just include it by nature in anything. And even if it's not a funny meeting, we'll find something to make fun of or enjoy while we're in it. So I have never thought at the end of a meeting, oh, shoot, haven't laughed yet. Haven't made anybody laugh yet. What will we do? So you know what? I'll have to have something in my back pocket in case that may happen someday. Worrisome.
So I have one more question about this moment because I'm very intrigued. In that meeting, when you got canned, was there any laughter? You said except in that meeting, or like, did you find a time or a place to laugh about it? I mean, maybe you're laughing about it now.
That was a tough meeting. That was maybe the start of the toughest point of my career. I was leading digital for they were a white pages, yellow pages type of company. Yellow pages is the name. They're huge in Canada. They were huge, let's put it that way. And they were reinventing themselves in digital age. They bought a company, a startup. I was part of it. We worked for like a year and they decided to shut it down. And no, I got called in and really didn't have awareness. In retrospect, I can see what was coming, but at the point I was young and stupid and didn't see it. And it just started and it went from bad to worse. And that started a really challenging part of my career, like 4 months of, oh, this is a next great opportunity. I'll go for that. And, oh, this is oh, wow, 3 levels of interviews. I'm going to get this one. And nothing happened. And yet, if I look back at it, there was meaning and purpose there because the path that I'm currently on, I would not be on if I was working a 9-to-5 job.
There is no question, because the next fun fact about you, and it's amazing because, look, I've done 200, as 280. Well, I've done more shows than that because some people have been back multiple times. And, in all of these shows, I learn about their past. I learn about connections. I learn about their squiggly journey that brought them to this place. And I learned this about you, that you earned $200,000 in a day. And for me, sometimes, what is less intriguing than the thing, right? Earn $200,000 in a day. It's the fact that this is one of the 3 things that someone shared with me, and so it means it's meaningful. It means it's relevant. It means it's it's personal as well. And so sometimes it's less about me asking what happened and why did it happen, and more like, why did you choose this? But I'm assuming when we talk about earning $200,000 in a day, would I be right in talking about the smart coin, or would I be talking about something else? Would you be
You
talking about
would
something else?
be wrong, although something similar may have happened over the course of a week or so with Smartcoin. But one of the reasons I gave this to you is it's super recent, and it was super unexpected, and it was super lucky. It was really, really, really weird because I did some consulting in the early part of this year for a company called Brain Trust. And it is kind of a talent network that is run on crypto and runs for the purposes of the people that it finds jobs for, as well as the companies and brands that use it to find workers, gig workers, as well as longer term workers. Super interesting company, well funded. I only worked for them, a contract for them for like 3 months, maybe something like that. And they said off the top, you know what, you should take some of your salary in B Trust. We're doing this token thing. We're going to release it at some point. It's going to be amazing. I thought, this is stupid. I want US dollars. All right. Give me something I can use. Give me something I can spend. I don't want your bloody token. So I did it anyways. And if I was not an idiot, I would have said, pay me all in B Trust. Because what happened essentially last week is their token went live on Coinbase. And it absolutely freaking blew up. It went to like $60 at some point. And I had over 4,000 of them, 4,500 or something like that, because I had accumulated them as just part of my salary, my contract and everything. Now, I couldn't get them out immediately. I think they had some kind of hold. There was a delay. I had to get them off their website into Coinbase. And so I was like sweating bullets this whole time because I know, if something goes live on Coinbase, what's going to happen? Pile in, coin goes way up, dump, right? Pump, dump, pump, dump. Happens all the time. Every altcoin happens. Every new creator on Smart, we see it all the time. And so I'm watching it go from 60 and down, 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 down. Anyways, I got it out at a reasonable number and I managed to cash out of that. And of course, I converted all to Ethereum, which has since lost like 25% of its value or 10% or whatever. I'm not paying full attention to it, but I expect that to go back up.
Don't look at the Ethereum price. Don't look at the Ethereum price. That was your tweet. Don't look at the Ethereum price.
Yes, exactly.
And
so I'm not too worried about
look
that.
At the Ethereum price.
But the cool thing is it was unexpected. I didn't really expect to get any value out of that. I thought it was useless. And boom, it happened. That's pretty cool. I'm kind of pumped about it.
So, I mean, that's amazing. And I was thinking that it had to do with your creator coin. Of course, I have the Jaffe coin. You have the smart coin. And I came up with a little copy line for you: get smart, right? Get some smart. You're going to get smart by getting smart.
Sure.
So I actually thought this is what it was. I know we've probably lost $200,000 in a day. I don't know about the winning part. Let's talk a little bit about this coin and specifically, why did you call it smart?
I called it smart because I've been working on this thesis for at least 3 years right now. And the thesis is smart matter. And that is that the percentage of matter that is around us that is getting smart is increasing every second. And so if we look at it, 40 years ago, very little of the planet's matter was something that you could refer to as smart. There were, these computers in massive rooms. There were maybe some machines that had some electronics, that sort of thing. As we've continued, we've developed computers and smartphones and other stuff like that. And now we've got levels of ambient intelligence because maybe you've got Alexa in your home, right? You've got an Echo device or something like that. You've got a Google Home. You've got a HomePod or something like that. That ambient intelligence is really, really interesting. And we're going towards a time when we really will have a smart home. Like your wall will know how much strain it is bearing. Your windows will know how much heat they're losing or gaining if the sun is pouring in, right? Your roof will know how long it's going to last and whether it's about to develop a leak. Your attic will know, oh, I've got too much humidity here. You better watch out, vent some of that, right? So this is smart matter. And we are eventually going to have not just a smart house or a smart factory or a smart office, a smart city, a smart country, a smart globe, a smart planet, right? Not everything will participate in that, but there will be sensors, there will be radios, there will be actuators or motors, there will be connectors around, and data will be flowing everywhere. And so I've been working on that thesis, did a few things with that even when I was back at VentureBeat, have worked on that a little bit at Forbes, worked on a book, which I haven't completed. That's not the one that's not finished yet, that I'm writing in public, and other things. And so that is what I'm super interested in. What is smart? And then we're talking AI, of course, but we're talking applied AI. We're talking embodied AI, right? Not just abstract AI in some cloud server or something like that, but AI that I can touch, that I can feel, that I can engage with, interact with, and that makes changes in my environment. And to me, that's smart. And so I have a podcast, which is Tech First with John Koetsier. And a major focus of that is smart matter, is making things smart, is intelligence that we are creating, artificial intelligence, if you want to call it that way. And so the smart coin is a way of participating with me in that journey. And there's a couple different things that you can do with smart coin, in addition to just hodling it and pouring it over your naked body in the bathtub and just really enjoying it.
So I heard the other day, and I'll just triangulate a few thoughts, and then we can meet somewhere in the middle. I love this concept of smart matter, right? We all hear about, like, wearables and there are other industry names for these devices, whether it's your what's the Apple, the
HomePod.
HomePod, etc. But smart matter is interesting because then we think of things like antimatter. There's like matter's cool, and matter matters. But in addition to that, I found this quote for you because I always try and find a quote for my guest, and this is your quote. So here is kind of like Exhibit B, which is, if it keeps up, man will atrophy all his limbs, but the push button finger. And that was said by Frank Lloyd Wright, architect Frank Lloyd Wright. And I guess the third part of this little triangulation would be, well, there are probably a few more. There's this idea that, I say artificial intelligence is more artificial and less intelligent. But when we put all of this together, we've got Elon Musk warning us about, the Ray Kurzweil singularity. I actually read the other day that for the first time in the history of the world, the mass, someone clearly had too much time on their hands. Someone calculated, probably someone very famous, calculated that there is more man-made matter on this planet than there is non-man-made matter, natural matter. The earth itself, the actual weight of the earth, the oceans, the mountains, the trees would be considered to be non-man-made for the most part. And there is now more man-made matter on this planet.
I would want to see the caveats about that, because it must be like above or something like that, because the Earth is really freaking big. It's really amazingly massive. And there's no way that that's possible without a couple caveats about where that matter is and where the other matter that they're looking at isn't.
See, I thought you were going to say something about, I'd like to see the scale that they used to weigh.
Sure, Archimedes scale.
Yeah, but I mean, it's from your perspective, right? I mean, clearly, you and I, we share the same vision. We have hope. We have hope for the future. We see the benefit of connectedness and interconnectedness, as opposed to people that immediately see this and they get scared and they push back, and privacy, etc. So what do you think this vision looks like in this in this is it utopia or dystopia in a world where the singularity, now we live in the singularity world?
I don't think there's ever just utopia or ever just dystopia. I think the two participate all the time and intertwine. And I think that in the misses, we have dystopia. In some of the misses, we also sometimes get utopia. Honestly, unless we shape the future, we will just be shaped by it. And that means that we need participation from many. And you've talked about that you've invited a lot of diversity into your show, a lot of creators of color, a lot of non-traditional creators, others, startup people and stuff like that. I think that's a part of it as well. But look, privacy matters. A lot of things that we see in regulation and that are happening from the major technology platforms matter. If we look at what is happening in China with surveillance, we see kind of through a mirror where we've got surveillance capitalism in some parts of the West in significant components, which has had its negative impacts and has also paid for our email, paid for our social, paid for our, you name it, even productivity apps and other things like that. And we also see surveillance in the service of government, in the service of essentially dictatorship, right? And so there's a lot of different ways of using the technology. I'm not sure that we found the right way right now, but an automatic no and backing away and fear is not going to create the kind of engagement that is going to build the kind of society that we want to live in. We need people who are not super excited about there being 50 million cameras per square kilometer in New York City to be part of the conversation. Because guess what? With this, with the headset and the smart glasses that I'll be wearing in 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, whatever it might be, that future is coming, and we need to deal with it. We need to figure out how that works and what that looks like.
I always love the Peter Drucker quote, which is defending the past is far riskier than creating the future. And I kind of like the way that you look at utopia and dystopia, because basically what you've almost created this oversimplified binary, right? Which is when it works, it's utopia. When it doesn't work and goes to hell, it's dystopia. But it's actually it's almost like childlike, and by childlike I mean it's very pure. It's very clean. It's very pure. It's very succinct. You're doing something very cool, which is your next book is being written publicly. And I mean, that also, I don't even know if that's Web 3.0, 2.7, or, 3 to the power of 3. But this idea of like setting everything and liberating content, and realizing that the journey may very well prove to be more profitable than the destination. That doesn't even matter if 0 people buy the book, but it's the community that you've amassed and tapped into along the way. This is a post where you kind of talk about it. And I was intrigued by chapter 12. Chapter 12, save Facebook, well, first of all, why don't you set it up in terms of this idea of what all the chapters represent? And then I'm going to ask you to tell us about chapter 12.
So I set it up as writing in public because I didn't want to be working for a year or longer on a project and then release. That's so antithetical to kind of who I am right now, but largely the environment that we live in, where we're more incremental. We're more like ship it at, version 0.1 instead of version 1 or version 2, right? And also I wanted feedback. I wanted input, and I wanted to gather around a bit of a community as I did that on my website, on my socials and other things like that. So that's one of the reasons why I did that. And then I just look at, what are we seeing right now? Where do I think that could go in the future? What issues could that be? And some of that is dystopian, and some of that is utopian, and there's a total mix there. And it's funny because we just had the conversation about this mix of dystopia and utopia and how it goes. I mean, we're talking about AI and smart matter. I don't know if you saw the news just recently, but a robot sniper just killed somebody in Iran, a senior atomic
Yeah,
researcher.
I saw your tweet. It was crazy. I think it was your
Exactly,
tweet. Yeah.
exactly. And of course, Israel built that, shipped it, sent it there, and they have some reasons for that because they have fears of being targeted, right? But we now live in a world, and we have for some time, let's be honest, because there's been drones targeting, right? And there's been people in the loop, but not always 100% in the loop. But we now live in a world where there are robotic killers, AI driven killing tools. We live in that world right now. And so that is kind of technology that works, that is creating a dystopia, right? And so I wanted to look at some of those things and write about some of those things, right? I mean, like, what is the world like when theft is impossible? Because every product is smart and every product is registered and knows you and is connected to you. Already smartphones are almost unstealable, right? Because they're so tied to your identity, connected. You can remotely turn them off, wipe them, all that stuff, right? What is it like, if you use an Apple Watch to keep track of all your fitness, and your spouse says, let's get physical here. You say, wait, I got to put on my Apple Watch and capture the fitness there for that. What if you have a fight about that? No, all the things. There's interesting things. What about when you have AI? Oh, that was good. Okay. What about when
that's
you
the
have
reaction
AI
I
on?
get in my house.
Exactly. What about when you have arms dealers that sell weapons that are smart? AI arms dealers. What if they favor one combatant and the smart weapons work better for one side than the other side? There's all these interesting permutations of what could be happening that I want to look at.
It's absolutely fascinating because also inherent in this scenario, right? More dystopian, or it depends on what side, whether
It's
you're
more
on
fun to
the.
write dystopian. Let's put it that way.
But it's crazy. I mean the idea. I mean, it really gets into this idea of being hacked or hackable, and also what espionage looks like and spying. In terms of recognizing who is being seen and who is seeing. But chapter 12, I love this one. It's called Save Facebook, Save Our Memories campaign stalls at $500 million, largest crowdfunding campaign ever, but still but still too little. So like I tell us about this. And also I was like, only $500 million. Doesn't Facebook make that in advertising just from me, like in a day?
Not just you, but maybe the both of us. So what I was playing on here is, look, we think that some of the companies that we see are too big to fail. We think that they will be around forever, and people have thought that for decades, for over 100 years, probably a couple 100 years, right? And the reality is that most companies, if not all companies, eventually do fail. And Facebook, like others, like Google, like Apple, will eventually, if the world lasts long enough and we're around long enough and there aren't just cockroaches scurrying around somewhere, smart cockroaches, by the way, then they will fail. They will crumble. They will go bankrupt. They will go out of business. Built to suck. Built to suck. There you go.
I'm
Nice.
telling you, I don't gratuitously just show the book, but it's like, I mean, I want you to continue, but the premise behind it was a chart that I saw in my daughter's classroom that shows 5,000 years of history, civilizations. And I looked at Romans, Ottomans, Egyptians, Ming Dynasty, Nazi Germany, and every single one of them rose and fell, and every one of them was arrogant, and every one of them had a degree of hubris and believed they could rule the world and live forever. None of them did, not one. And I thought to myself, how is it possible that a corporation would suddenly be able to cheat cheat time when these entire civilizations couldn't? But by the way, and I'm only saying this because it's like, you're getting me giddy now. But it begins, if I may read, it says, in late 2018, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos addressed his entire staff in an all-hands meeting. Amazon will fail and go bankrupt one day, he said. Your job is to delay this for as long as possible. So back to Facebook. So tell me about, what did Facebook in the end?
Ultimately, the same thing as we'll do every other company, in lack of usage, lack of customers. And so what I'm projecting out there is just a future in which usage on Facebook drops off massively, and they can't afford to keep those servers running. Now, just think, if you are Facebook, just like if you're YouTube or Google, you have massive costs just to keep the doors open, and those costs are always increasing. This video is live. It's probably live on Facebook. I shared it to my Facebook as well. Guess what? That needs to be stored somewhere. And yes, storage is getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, but the amount of content that we're creating, and video content, which is heavy, is getting more and more and more. At some point, if you lose enough usage, enough customers, you lose enough ad revenue, you can't keep that going. And so then I was just playing out that scenario, and you've got all your memories there because you've uploaded so much stuff. And there was this crowdfunding campaign to save Facebook, and unfortunately it failed. What was really interesting about your book, and you bring that in, reminded me the oldest company on the planet is in Japan, and it's about 1,000 years old, and it's essentially a family-run cafe, which has been around all that time. And there's worries right now about it being able to continue running because, of course, the world has changed so much. Who will take it over? I think the family has it doesn't have a clear heir, and so, interesting world that we live in.
Well, I love that. So I'm going to go and research that. So tell me more. So it's the oldest known company.
Yes, I believe it's in Kyoto or something like that. I could be wrong, but I know it's in Japan, and I thought it was something like 1,000 years old. So you probably find something in there. Google will tell you. If Google doesn't, I'll invent it on a web page, and then you can search for it, and then you've got a source.
I love it. I love it because also, I've learned through my research and writing about, diseconomies of scale, and this concept called giganticism, and the fact that, the thesis was that, the thesis is twofold. One is the business model of big business is broken, but the other one is that the very thing that helped these multinational corporations grow, size, scale, economies of scale, efficiencies of scale, is now the albatross that is killing them, around their neck. So this is great. So Facebook, and look, I'm teaching at NYU, and I'm teaching at West Virginia University, and all my students keep reminding me that Facebook is where the old people go.
Yes.
Like people like you and me.
Yes.
We apparently hang out on Facebook, but they don't. So now we're trying to save these memories, and poor Facebook could only raise $500 million. Is that how bad it got?
Very sad. Very sad.
Alas, poor Yorick.
We knew him well.
poor Zaki. All right. So, on a more optimistic, positive, and hopeful note, you posted this the other day. And it blew my mind as well. And it blew my mind for two reasons. One is because I too have a coin, obviously. But also, I was like really kind of intrigued and impressed by the fact that you tweeted this. Because I've got to know you, and you're not a braggadocious person. You're very, quiet spoken, kind, respectful, inclusive person. And I immediately, when I saw you do this, now we know that you actually how much you made from Brain Trust as well, so we can do the math. But I figured you would share this because you knew that it would help more people in the process of being able to share something like this. So I was very impressed with you sharing it. But let's talk about the substance now. Talk about the fact that this blows my mind that that this little experiment that you and I have been blessed to be a part of, has generated. For me, it's a very easy calculation because I don't have any business. But it's just amazing. So talk more about this.
I share stuff that is interesting to me. And because I think that is a proxy for what might be interesting to other people. And this did literally blow my mind. I sort of did the calculation on a napkin, essentially, mentally, essentially, and I would not have dreamed this 10 years ago. I would not have dreamed this last year. It's frankly almost unbelievable. But the brain trust thing really helped. That was nice. And when we have a smart coin right now, and I should explain something for the audience so they understand what's going on. You and I'm assuming you, certainly me, but I'm assuming you as well. It's not like when somebody buys into our coin, that money goes into our pocket. Doesn't happen. It goes into the value of the coin. Now, the company that is building these, because they want to increase the value here, because they want to grow, they reward people whose coins are growing. They reward people who are getting more people to invest into the creator coins. So they reward people like us with a little bit of rally token when our coins do well. And that rally token can mostly be used to bolster the value of your own coin, but you can occasionally take some of that out. And you can take some of that out and convert it to Ethereum. You can convert it to Bitcoin. You can convert it to essentially fiat currency at some point. So with some challenges, some ETH, gas fees, as you're talking about, other things like that.
And WETH, apparently, and whatever WETH is.
Exactly. But so in those scenarios, yeah, I mean, I have been ridiculously busy through the pandemic. I have more clients than I want. I have more clients than I need. My wife and I keep talking about, maybe I should trim that down, to about a third of what it is. And, we could, work 4 days a week, and my wife and I run the business together. Right. And we could, go hiking, go on some vacations and stuff like that. Hasn't happened yet. Maybe it will at some point, but crypto has surpassed that. And I don't know if that's sustainable. I don't know if that's going to be forever. So I'm not putting all of my eggs in one basket, my coins in one wallet. But it's pretty interesting. It's pretty crazy. And I thought it was worth sharing.
No, I loved it. And I think what it did is it showed to a degree that this stuff is real. And it basically also sent out a message, which is, come on in, the water's fine. And I believe that there is enough tide to rise and float all boats. One of the things that I do now, I just put up the QR code, which is live for another 13 minutes, is I can give away coin every day. I can give away coin every day and
Amazing.
not even worry about it. But I want to. It's exciting. It's allowed me, in a time when, let's be honest, there's been so much anxiety and so much pain and so much fear, that I can be generous. I can be a philanthropist. I can be a crypto philanthropist in a way. And I love it. And I think it makes me be a better man.
Wonderful.
Because there's no better feeling in the world than to give.
Wonderful.
And I'm learning. In fact, I got to tell you, my first impression of you when I didn't know you from Adam was that you were Daddy Warbucks, because you would be like, whose coin should I buy today? And I was like, me, choose me, choose me, choose me. I'm like, who is this John Koetsier? He's on Forbes. He just buys coin. I'm like, and we actually own a fair amount of each other's coin.
Absolutely. And it's
honest.
a kind of a participation in what each other does. And it's a support of what you do. And what you've done is a support of what I do. And it's interesting. It makes us more interconnected.
I love it too. And just to add one more point to it, because it's so much more than just, it's about crypto, but it's really not about crypto, because you're on my show. I've been in one of your Forbes articles together. Is this not the greatest bit of B2B networking and social networking? Who needs LinkedIn? When you actually have the ability to find this network of trust or trusted network. And that's really what's happening, and helping each other and having each other's back. I will give you the quote that I give, so many times, which is the definition of community is a group of strangers who care about each other a little bit more than they should.
Wonderful.
And that's really what's happened. So it is a good story, and we're sticking to it. And we hope that tomorrow will be better than the day before. But it is a wild and crazy ride. We have probably time for one more, and I wanted to ask you about this. And this, of course, would be this idea of reality bubbles, something that is on your mind. What is a reality bubble, John?
A reality bubble is a thing that you get into when you continually seek out one particular perspective on a topic, or frankly, an entire worldview that hangs together. And because you seek that out, what we see grows, and you do not see other perspectives, and you cannot understand other people and what they think. And we've always had those, right? There's always been like the right-wing newspaper and the left-wing newspaper. There's them in the books you go to, the schools you attend, the friends you hang out with, all those other things. But in the age of algorithms, they've been supercharged. They've been absolutely supercharged. And so what you see, what you want to see in the world, is all that you do see in the world. And this is unbelievably dangerous. And so ultimately, we blame Facebook a lot, right? We've watched the Netflix documentary on it. We blame some of the other social platforms as well. Look, everybody is to blame. My mother gets suggested certain podcasts by Apple Podcasts, which cause her to lose sleep at night because somebody's angry about something 10,000 kilometers away from where she lives. And the world is going to hell, right? And that is the case for so many people. And the sad part is many people are entirely unsophisticated with the understanding that the glasses you wear are changing the world that you see. And we get to the point where we can't talk to each other anymore. And you get people, and the States is probably the worst example of this, but I think it's in many other places as well. You get to places where we demonize people we disagree with, and we think that they're idiots or they're evil or whatever the case might be. And we can't even have a rational conversation because we can't even agree on the basic nature of reality. That's unbelievably dangerous and unbelievably tragic. And if we could fix one thing about technology, or maybe human nature, good luck with that one, right? That would be it.
I think this is such an important topic, and for those of you that are watching this, we saved the best to last, because you didn't mention it by name, but let me tell you, there is no bigger culprit right now than Clubhouse, when it comes to being a culprit. And as always, there is a machine component, but really the finger that I point is at the human, the human error, if you will. A bad moderator, a moderator that doesn't know what they're doing, that cannot control a conversation, that cannot call out what is just, quite frankly, bullshit when it happens and when it occurs. And I think, there's that old saying that says, do something every day that makes you uncomfortable. We could probably riff on that and say, every day, listen to an opinion that is different to yours, that is opposite to yours. But it's more than that, because, I found, as someone who watches CNN, that I would be like, you know what, I'm going to watch Fox News tonight. But then I found myself just getting damn angry. And so I've changed something now in me, which is find an element of truth in every single conversation or debate, because there's just no way that you are the purveyor of truth and they are the purveyors of lies, or vice versa. It's just not possible. So find the connection, find the truth, and work from there. And I think in many respects, that's kind of how you set up the book, because what you did is you took the trend and then you said, let me take it to its logical conclusion. And let's see, you tell me if I'm on the right track, if there's a there. What does it look like if the thing that we hope for or fear comes to pass?
Wonderful. Love it. Absolutely love it. Amazing. And finding the truth that we can share is the key beginning to building the bridge that reconnects us, whatever we think, whatever we believe. And I think that's absolutely critical. Love how you said it.
And I love what you said. Finding, my goodness, these are these are amazing sound bites. I mean, this idea that you said the glasses you wear are changing the world you see. But it's true. It's when you said finding the truth we can share. That's the point. It's not just the element of truth. It's the fact that you now would stake your social currency and your equity on being able to say, hey, listen, I know I don't really, respect this person or even like this person or whatever, but they said something that I really felt the need to want to share. It is a kernel. It is a seed. It is a spark. I know there's a spark in your domain as well. But that, from the spark comes the flame. From the flame comes the fire, and from the fire becomes, the kind of light that can lead the way forward.
You said it.
No, you said it. I just paraphrased it. This has been John Koetsier. You can, go ahead and find out what he's about. You can actually get time with him through one of his rewards that he has through his creator coin. Of course, if you want to do that, you just have to get smart. You'll get smart. Hopefully you're smarter just because you watched today's show. Go to rally.io/creator/SMRT. And, I had no idea that the smart was smart matter, but I now am smarter because of it. You can connect with him on LinkedIn. He is very, very active, dynamic, consistent on Twitter. I have about 15 people that I have the bell on for Twitter, and you are one of them. So I love it. I love it, and I'm going to keep on loving it as well. Don't just buy the book. Actually be the book and be a part of the book. Go and check out Insights from the Future and contribute to it. And if you want to know how to find it, just go to johnkoetsier.com. I think that is all we have time for, but I'm going to give you the final word. What say you, my friend?
Big virtual hug to everybody. We are going through tough times in a lot of ways. A lot of us are having challenges with our family, people who disagree with us. We're disconnected, less connected than we've ever been before, in spite of all the technology that we could use to connect us. Big virtual hug for everybody, and blessings to you all.
And as far as Chuck Norris would say about that,
You are Chuck Norris approved.
I will be back on Monday. No show tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Be safe. And big virtual hug to you, John, and everyone out there. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching the show about hope, positivity, optimism, and if there's time left over, a little bit of marketing with your host, multiple author, and global keynote speaker, Joseph Jaffe. If you like the show, tell a friend or two. Please subscribe to the show, and if you want to get inside news, previews of upcoming guests, and much more, visit josephjaffe.com/subscribe to sign up for the show's newsletter.
And despite the best ministrations of your wife, you still look ugly.